your grandparents never taught your parents about money, then how do your parents have that discussion with you? Especially if they're looking at themselves and being in this leadership role. I have to be the person, set the example. I want these things for my kids, for them to have a better life than I ever had. Well, if you want those things, then educate yourself, right? Tune into the podcast. We do this every single Wednesday. If you don't know, ask, because I think it's a lot easier for us to rationalize and vocalize what it is that we don't want. So then what you do want is just the opposite of that. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. It's easier to say that than it is, oh, I want to be wealthy. I want to be secure. I want to feel safe. It's easier for us to actually, I found, for us to vocalize pain than it is pleasure. Welcome to another episode of WealthWise Banking. I'm here today, Jeremy Huggins with Jason Sipple, and we have a guest today, our first guest of 2026. Artem, how's it
What?
going, man?
You have a guest?
Oh, good. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we started off last year kind of pretty regularly with interviews with folks who are in the practice of doing what? Banking, right? We're all in the practice of banking. And we kind of let that trail off towards the end of 2025. It's something that Jason and I really want to get back into with interviews. And for those who don't know, I've had the luxury and the privilege of working with Artem on some really special projects over the last couple of months and hearing his story, what he's doing in terms of thinking long range. We just thought, hey, let's get him on the podcast to really share. So Artem, welcome.
Thank you guys. Thank you. I'm very honored to be here and love working with you, Jeremy, and good to see you, Jason.
Yeah, it's awesome. Awesome to have someone as young as yourself here. If people can't see you, they can hear you, can't tell how young you are. But Jeremy talks very highly of you and your journey and your kind of mission, your heart for what we do to help people. And
Mhm.
so I'm looking forward to this. But first, for everyone listening, we always start off with a game, two truths and a lie. So I think Jeremy and I are probably roughly tied, but I kind of miss playing this game. So, Jeremy, back to you for a moment, but that's how we're going to start this off, Artem. So, start getting your mind ready on what the two truths and a lie are.
Yeah, so we are tied. I think that's how we left things off, was with a tie. But Artem, basically, two truths, one lie. Jason and I are going to give a shot on figuring out which one is the lie, and then we'll go from there.
Mhm.
So what are you? What do you got for us, man?
I speak two languages. I was born in Russia, and I started playing hockey at 2.
Okay.
All right. Jason, you want to go first?
I do not. I'm going to defer to you. I'm going to defer to you.
That's a fair for Jeremy to start.
All right. So we know that you speak two languages. I'm going to say I know you speak two languages for sure. I know that you came to the United States to play hockey from the mother country, Russia. So I'm going to actually say that you speak more than two languages. I think that you speak three or more. So that's what I'm going to say is the lie. Jason.
Strategically, I let Jeremy go first because I knew he knew a lot of things about Artem that I did not know. So I'm going to go with the same thing, though. I believe that you speak more than two languages.
Well, you guys both were wrong.
So you didn't start hockey at 2 then.
I did start hockey at 2. I do only speak two languages. Unfortunately, I wish I speak more than two. But I was actually born originally in Uzbekistan. That's where my dad plays soccer. So I moved to Russia when I was 1 years old.
Mm.
So that's kind of a trick question. You had kind of have to know me, but
Yeah, you got us both. Okay, Jeremy, we're still tied. We're still
Hey,
terrible at
hey,
this. That's
that's all
good.
right. That's okay. So tell us about this story. How do you go from Uzbekistan to Russia to the United States?
yeah. So my dad played professional soccer in Uzbekistan, and that's where he kind of grew up. And I was born there, and he decided to kind of pack all of his family and move to Russia. So and obviously being there at 2 years old, that's where I started playing hockey. My dad took me on the walk, and I saw a little ice ring outside, and he couldn't get me back, couldn't get me back inside for like 2 hours. So I started playing hockey, and that's been my passion for about 17 years. And at 17, he said, "Go chase your dreams," and sent me on a plane and sent me to the United States to play hockey.
And how much English were you speaking when you came to the US?
Oh, zero. You should have seen me when I just moved in. It was pretty horrendous. It was kind of the learning was that's a tree, that's the ocean. But luckily, I was very nice family in California in Huntington Beach. That's where I moved. And the mom, for kind of an interesting story, she got hurt with her shoulder, so she stayed home for about 6 months. So we're just kind of going back and forth, and she kind of taught me the language.
Well, yeah, that's I gotta imagine you're probably what, sitting at 17, 18 years old, coming to a foreign country, and you don't speak the language. All you know is what you've seen on TV
Yep.
and maybe what's in the news over in Russia.
Yep. That's pretty
Uh,
much it. That's pretty much it. But I
so,
had a
A lot
lot
of courage.
of
That's why I think Jeremy's saying it's a lot of courage to do that, to follow the dream, to but I mean Huntington Beach, that's not a bad life.
Nope.
That must have been an okay place to end up.
Nope. Yeah, that wasn't definitely the worst place to be. It's nice and warm, and I was very it was very good family, and people took really good care of me. So.
so how long were you in California before you ended up in Minnesota? Because now you're in Minnesota.
Yeah, I am. So I was in California for a couple of years, and then I played hockey in different states, and finally got committed to go to school in Minnesota. So I just got a good offer. Luckily, I had good grades in school, so I was able to get into Gustavus, a D3 school in Minnesota. And that's kind of where my finance journey started to begin a little bit as I studied finance and at school.
Okay. And so you're studying, you're living in California, you're learning English, you're moving to Minnesota,
Hmm.
fulfilling the dream, playing hockey, going to school, getting an American education.
Yep.
We're just pounding you with indoctrination and red,
Yeah.
white, and blue,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. And I think kind of the way I got into what you guys are doing, and I'm glad Jeremy brought me into. He was kind of my always my mentor and kind of taught me everything that I know. Along with John Castaneda was his good friend and a mentor. I actually got into the business of life insurance and infinite banking and the Constitution and kind of building this through my personal story. My dad passed away 3 years ago, so I had to personally live through of not having the plan in
Hmm.
place. And after that happened in 2023, my family spent about a year and a half in courts and trying to get the settlement, and which we were able to make it through. And once we did get a settlement, which I thought it was kind of a big accomplishment, but it actually broke our family apart and made it actually worse than it was before. The money brought big conflict in our family. My brother was 18 years old at the time. I was 20. I was 23. When we grew up very, very poor, growing up in Russia. Like just to give you guys a little background in the audience here. When we moved to Russia, my mom and dad would go to the forest just to pick up berries and sell it on like outside in the street just to make the bills because they didn't have jobs. So we started from very, very bottom. So we didn't have any finance background. We didn't have the knowledge of what money is and how to handle it. So when we got that settlement about the accident, it was about $15,000. It was for us, it was a huge money. So I wasn't there to help my brother and my grandma, obviously. She was older, she's 83, so she had nothing to do with it. So all of the money came to my brother and kind of led him to a really dark and their path of gambling and drinking. So that struggle put me on a journey of like, how do I prevent that from happening in the next generations? And how do I not only have money set for my family, but how do I teach my family about the finance? How do I teach my family about how to use the money? So I just went on a journey. I started reading books and reaching out to just cold calling. I called John, I called Jeremy, I called Derek. I just called all the people that I knew in the area in Minnesota that could just help me. So that's kind of my story. And
Yeah. So that, I mean, thank you for, sharing. That's a lot of life to be lived in just 23 years, right? And then what you've gone since in the last 3 years, not going from a family who didn't know financial IQ,
mhm,
starting all over in the United States, being separated from your family during a time of loss. That's got to be pretty, it's nothing I've had to go through. So I thank you for sharing that. I'm kind of a little bit at a loss for words right now.
mhm,
I appreciate it as well. Sorry for your loss for your father. I mean, at such a young age, I can't even imagine, and in hearing your certainty in what you do now, I can feel your heart. I can feel like you're like, hey, we suffered, it broke our family apart. And a lot of families go through this, right? I mean, we have a lot of conversations, and I've seen it in my family where people don't leave what the systems and processes are, or they don't leave a death benefit, and then people fight over, and they think there's uncertainty. They don't know what to do, and then it ends up tearing the family apart because of how it's handled, because there was no direction provided, because we didn't look ahead, right? So what you shared really resonated, and it's really really impressive to me that you're only 26 and this is your path. Like that's amazing. You have a lot of wins ahead of you, Artem, for sure. So very cool.
So, what would you say was kind of the biggest takeaway from that? You talked about reading books and kind of following the path. I think more importantly than reading books is you took action, right? You started calling people and looking for
Yeah.
education in the real world, like practical lived experiences.
Yeah, thanks for that's a great question. I think what the biggest takeaway that I would want to share with people and that I've learned is systems over money. And that's what my family went through. We might have a good amount that you leave for your kids. You might have a big business that you've grown and you want to give it to your children. You might have some real estate, but the kids actually need the father and the mom, and they need the advice more than they need the money itself. So I think that's the biggest takeaway that I went through. And I think that's what you guys are doing, what we're doing is very meaningful because we're bringing those systems to people.
Now, when you say systems, can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I say systems, I'm talking about the philosophies around money. So, how do we, let's say we get the $15,000, right? How do we perpetuate that wealth? How do we, maybe we take out the life insurance policies on the kids in the family and make sure that if something happens to me, my brother Nikita, that will replenish our family bank, right? How much of that money do we save? So, and I started doing that before I even learned from Jeremy and how does wealthy families set it up. And when I learned the book, I started doing that with my brother because I had to get him out of what he was in. He was just spending money and gambling and doing the wrong thing. So I was like, how do I help him? So I started holding meetings. I was like, I'm
Hmm.
gonna call you every Sunday. I'm gonna sit down, we're gonna talk. What'd you spend? How much money did you spend? Did you save any money? Did you make? Because he had to pay me back. So that's the the thinking is funny now. It brings me back. It's like now we talk about policy loans, right? Or like the loans because he spent so much money that he owed me money because he spent my portion. I had to buy him out, basically all of his loans that he took out against our house and against my part of the inheritance. So now I was like, okay, I'm going to give you this loan. I'm going to pay it off, but how are you going to pay me back? Did you get a job? Just calls. We start set up calls every Wednesday and every Thursday. So that's what I'm talking about when I say systems. Every family should have a system or monthly meetings or weekly meetings. So checking in with the kids and teaching them how to handle the wealth when they do get it.
I love that leadership. And for you, I mean, that's leadership. Like for anyone listening, that's what leadership in a family looks like. So for you to step up and lead your family, lead your brother like that, who modeled that for you? Was it a coach? Like who did you learn to have that kind of leadership skills to bring your family together that way?
I think it's a great question. I think it was emergency. It was emergency. It's I think about it as the way I learned English when I moved to the United States. I came to the United States by myself, so I had to speak. There was no other choice. I couldn't just go to my friend and be like, "Hey, ask something in Russian." I had to figure out how to speak English. So for me, taking leadership, it was about emergency. If I don't fix this issue with my brother or I don't help my mom, nobody else will. That's how I felt at the moment. So I was like, I'm just going to take charge. I'm going to figure it out as I go. And it wasn't perfect, right? Like we skipped meetings and
Hmm.
something didn't go right and I didn't say the right things. I would yell at him and he would yell back at me and he didn't respond. Like it was a process that took about a year and a half, but now he's in the right path and he's doing really well. And we're back
And
to have a good
and
relationship.
you and that's great that you said that because people listening sometimes think when you say, "Hey, we had a meeting. I called him every Sunday. We had this thing." They're like, "Wow, that's awesome." And I couldn't do that. I wouldn't be that organized. But what you just said, like you were imperfectly perfect,
Mhm.
right? You just said, "Hey, I might yell at you. You might yell at me. We might get mad at each other, but
Mhm.
we have to figure this out." Is that kind of what I heard?
Yes, that's good. That's a good point. We had the same vision and we had the same agenda where we wanted to go, but the way we got there, we had the structure in the system. But if we screw away from the system, we just go back the next week. Hey, can't meet this Sunday. Let's meet next Sunday.
And when you say system, what did that look like? Like, what did your system look like that you put in place for your brother in the meeting and what you were doing?
To us, it started off very basic. Hey, let's meet every Sunday. We're just going to talk about finances, where we at, how much money do you make, how much money do you repay, how much money do you save, what job are you applying for. So that was kind of our just overview of where we are financially. And then I just said, hey, let's try to call every day for 2 minutes. I don't care
Hmm.
what's going on. I just want to know that you're alive. I want to know that you're doing good. That's all. Just or at least
That's another layer. So that's accountability. You weren't letting a week go. you're checking in even for a minute, 2 minutes, just like, what's up? Did you
Mm-hmm.
apply? Did you do this? Like that's amazing.
Yeah, I
100%.
think what shouldn't be overlooked here is when Artem's saying system, he's not talking in terms of engineering and anything that's daunting, right? It was very simple. It was a scheduled time to talk about a specific topic.
Yeah.
And then that was the system. The system was just show up and talk. It
Yes.
was very, very simple. It's not going in and engineering these crazy spreadsheets and getting into the weeds of everything, right? It's literally just showing up, having a shared agenda, and having a discussion. Like that was the system. Just that simple.
100%. That's a great point. That's a
Yeah.
great point.
And, there's a saying that we have in the military as well. I don't want to overlook it, but in the absence of leadership, take charge. And that's exactly what you did. So you felt as though there was an emergency and no one else was coming to your rescue. Jason and I say this all the time. No one cares more about your money than you do.
Yes.
Um, that can be applied to so many facets and different areas of your life that no one cares more about your life and your well-being than you yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you feel the pressure, if there's an urgency or an emergency, what do? Well, you can either let life happen to you
Mm-hmm.
or you can take charge of your own life.
Mm-hmm.
So I commend you on that.
100%.
So let's fast forward. Right now, you're 26. Okay. Let's go forward 40 years. We're looking at typically someone's passive retirement years. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've already lived a lot of life in 26. Where do you want to be? Because we're all thinking about long range, right? I know that you've had these
Mm-hmm.
ideas and thoughts about the way that you want to shape your life. Where do
Mm-hmm.
you see yourself in 40 years?
I see myself, to be honest, at where I am right now. I just enjoy what I do, and I think that God gave me the experiences that I went through for this specific reason. I just big vision in 40 years doing the same thing I'm doing right now, just impacting people and helping people, putting those systems in place. If I can do it in a big scale, if I can impact 100 people, great. If I can impact 100 million people, even better. Just provide my experiences that God put me through to people, to
So
other.
basically, it's just you you believe that God gave you these sort of challenges in life so that way you can better relate to other people and help them overcome their financial problems, life
100
problems.
100%. And you guys have the same visions. Like for you, military is one the point that you always bring up with the lessons that you learned through military. For me, it was my personal experience, or even hockey. I sometimes relate to hockey a lot because if I think back to the teams that I've been on and all the teams I've been on, we lost every single year. Besides the last year, we won the MIAC championship. And the reason we did is because the coach that came in the year before, we always had a great team. He put the systems in place. The first meeting we ever had as a team, he came up, he put all the seniors and the coming back players, returning players, and he asked us one question. What are your four core values?
Mm.
And we were like, I don't know. I mean, we're friends, like play hockey. He's like, yeah, it's like, what are your four core values? What is the team stand for? And we're like, I don't know. And so we met throughout the summer. We met every 2 weeks and talked about it. It was horrendous. Like, why are we doing this? We're all 25-year-old. Why are we talking about core values? But that paid off. Then when season came on, same thing. He put the systems in place where every Monday we're going to do this drill. Every Tuesday we're going to do this. Every Wednesday we're going to do this. Every Thursday we're going to do this. It was annoying for 4 months, but it wasn't annoying when we actually everything paid off and was everything automatic. And when in the times of trouble in the MIAC championship games, when it was difficult, we looked at each other, we knew our four core values. We knew what we stand for. We knew what we can get
What
done.
were the four core values? That's an amazing coach. What were the four core values for your team?
It was a unity, hard north, fast. No, I'm blanking on the other one, but but
Yeah.
yeah, those were our identity.
Basically, it was just a rallying cry to bring everyone together,
Yeah,
but it
pretty
was.
much.
So
But yeah,
just
well,
kind of
unity, like what you just said was unity. Like once you have, like Jeremy, Artem, when you have an identity, and you have an identity of being like a team going in the same direction. I mean, this is what, Family Bank, this is what we do with our GPS. It's you want to show a person, a family. Like I'm gonna give you some homework, man. I know that
Sure.
when you go back, I want you to think, and this is for everyone listening too, go back and write down, and instead of doing 40 years, do your 10-year vision. Like it's going to be a little fuzzy, but where do you want to be? Like who's around you? What have you done? What do you have? Where do you live? What have you become? And it'll be a little fuzzy, but just like write that down, like really anchor in on that, and then do your 3-year picture. That 3-year picture is going to be a little bit clearer. Like in 3 years, I want to be in Jeremy's seat, whatever. Like where's your 3 year picture? Then your 1 year plan. Okay,
Mhm.
so and then that's got to be measured and monitored. Like, where do you want to be financially? What do you want to have in your life? Like, what have you created in the next year? And then go back to the 90-day process.
Mhm.
And you can take that down even smaller, right? When you talk about systems, you can go down to the month, down to the week, down to the day, down to the hour, and
Mhm.
then go forward again, right? But that way you'll have more clarity because and I'm just bringing this up as a topic because Jeremy and I talk about this a lot. Like humans haven't evolved to think long term.
Mhm.
And the first principle of everything we teach is think long range. So then how do we start making that a muscle we use? And that would be doing 10-year, 3 year, 1 year, 90-day. Make sense?
100%. I love that. That's really
Awesome.
cool.
We'll bring you back so you can tell us what it is maybe at a later time. What do you think, Jeremy? Is that a good
I mean,
plan?
I think it'd be a great plan. I think also for people who don't know how to get started on thinking long term, maybe start with what do you not want? Because I think it's a lot easier for us to rationalize and vocalize what it is that we don't want. So
Mhm.
then what you do want is just the opposite of that. I don't want to be broke. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck, right? It's easier to say that than it is, oh, I want to be wealthy. I want to be secure. I want to feel safe.
Mhm.
It's easier for us to actually, I found, for us to vocalize pain than it
Mhm.
is pleasure.
100%.
So for those who just have an issue kind of putting that out there, I just wanted to give that tip as well. I
Mhm.
do have a question for you though.
Sure.
So you're living this world in a very boring, asset class, life insurance.
Right.
So in your age, most folks would go out and be day traders or they'd be crypto bros, right? So I mean, why did you choose this asset class? Because you mentioned reading books and calling people and getting mentorship and just showing up and doing the things, right? Why this asset class and not the other ones, not the exciting ones?
To me, it's exciting, right? When I think about the future, like to me, I put myself in the future position that my kid's gonna have a foundation for the rest of their life set in place by me, and our family is gonna be together. To me, that's exciting. I mean, I don't care about just from my background, right? There's so many good things about the whole life insurance and the product and the features that it gives you, and all of the riders and additional benefits that you have, and how it's a guaranteed asset that has grown over time. There's so many useful things that you can put into the asset. And yes, for a lot of people, it's boring, but for me, it's actually exciting. Exciting. Like I have a passion for it because I think about my kids and I think about my family and how that will bring us together and build that foundation. To me, whole life is it's a foundation of all the other assets and investment portfolio that you have.
It's a certainty, right?
Absolutely.
What's exciting is the certainty that's behind it. The
Yes.
crypto and the day trading, there isn't certainty, but I don't want to overlook this one thing that you just mentioned. You said foundation, right?
Yes.
It's not the end all be all. It's a foundation. What do you mean by that?
That's where, to me, and I will share one story that might resonate. And I had the best sleep of my life when I put together a first policy for myself.
Hmm.
I struggled for 3 years, and I didn't know how to, kind of where to start, right? And people always, one thing they overlook about the whole life, they think it's expensive and I'll do later. And those are the biggest kind of misconceptions. You don't have to start the whole life. I'm still in school. I'm paying off debt. I just bought myself a term policy for $2.5 million to secure insurability so that I can slowly convert it over time. Right? When I went to sleep that night, I was okay, wow. For the next 10 years, I have a period of time to convert this into the whole life policy. My family is going to be protected no matter what happens.
That right there, anybody listening, that was the gold nugget. I asked people doing this for 41 years. I shared this with you the other day, Jeremy, but
Yeah.
Artem hasn't heard it. The audience hasn't heard it. I asked the guys who have been doing what we're talking about for
Hmm.
3 to 4 decades. I
Hmm.
said, what's the biggest thing that you wish you did differently? The number one thing was either extend term riders or sell more convertible term because clients, once they start having more wealth, say 10, 15 years into, their insurability, often they end up not being insurable. Things change. Life happens. And the biggest regret is I can't put more money into this asset. I can't have this that's already mature grow more. And what you just said is brilliant. Like if everyone thought, if you could go teach America, go teach kids, like that's your job
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Go teach all the 25-year-olds in the
Mhm.
United States that they need convertible term. They need to put money here before it goes anywhere else, and then start converting it slowly at
Yeah.
your own pace. Like it's awesome. So
100%.
Yeah, so you're getting married soon too, right?
Yeah. Not yet. Not yet. Don't get away on podcast here. Not yet.
Okay.
it,
All
it's
right.
it sounds like you need to convert some of that so you can actually get some cash value because you're gonna need, you're gonna need a rock.
I will. Yes.
All
Uh,
right.
Well,
I,
saying hello to your girlfriend. I don't know her name, but I'm sure you're gonna have her
Bryn.
listen to this.
Yeah.
What was
well,
it?
Yes, her name is Bryn. Yeah. So put that podcast out later. Cut this out.
uh, what about all right, here's a question for you. Parents, right? How do you think that parents should go about having these sort of discussions with their children, either young adults or teenagers? You're a generation removed from me. You're like three generations removed from
Hey,
Jason.
settle down, settle
Yeah.
down.
Oh, wow.
But if we're looking at how should parents start communicating the discussion and trying to get their children to think long range, trying to get their children to build that safety, that security, that way they can go out and invest aggressively, right? We're not telling people don't go and invest aggressively. What we're saying is build a strong, stable foundation. How
100%.
would you recommend that parents have that discussion with younger people?
Start as early as you can. That's the only one advice I could give. Don't wait till they turn 14. Don't wait till they turn 16. Kids are actually smarter than parents usually think they are. And again, I can't give advice to parents because I'm not a parent yet, so I can't give advice from that perspective. But as being a kid, I would wish my dad or my mom had more conversation. Of course, in my family, they didn't know what to talk about, right? But if you do, if you're the parent who has some kind of knowledge that you're learning on your own and you're becoming wealthier and learning all the philosophies, share it with your kids. Meet with them every week. Ask them questions. Like for example, I don't know. My dad would just always say like when we go to grocery stores, like if he couldn't buy something, he would just tell me like, "Hey, I can't buy it." So okay, like, I wouldn't cry because I knew his situation. He would always be honest with me. So I think being honest with your kids and then teaching them about money early on simple examples would go a long way.
I think a lot of the issue parents have in having that discussion around money
Mm,
is financial IQ is something that we pass on generationally. And
mm,
if your grandparents never taught your parents about money,
sure.
then how do your parents have that discussion with you, right? Especially if they're looking at themselves and being in this leadership role. I have to be the person, set the example. I want these things for my kids, for them to have a better life than I ever had. Well, if you want those things, then educate yourself, right? Tune into the podcast. We do this every single Wednesday. If you don't know, ask.
Yeah.
Again, no one cares more about your life than you. So I would encourage if there are parents out there who don't know how to have the conversation, reach out to Jason, reach out to me, reach out to Artem, right? We will help educate. That's the purpose of the podcast. It is financial IQ. So
Mhm.
that way you can have more intelligent conversations with your children.
And Jeremy, thank you for sharing. Artem, great advice. You'll be a great dad one day. So you're you're
Well,
preparing.
learn from
Uh, the one thing I would say, because I've done all the things wrong, I've not talked about it. I've gotten angry about money. It still comes up at times. But the sooner you start involving your family with what's going on and why things are being decided and talking about money, Connor asks me every month, Dad, how much do you make? And then he'll tell me if it's good or not.
That's awesome.
He tells me how I'm doing. Where are we this month? Okay, okay. Because he knows our numbers. He knows like how much is covering the business, how much is covering our personal, how
Mhm.
much is discretionary. He knows how money is flowing. And
100%.
and don't and if you don't know where to start, just pick a place. You can't mess it up.
Hmm.
Start talking about what's coming in, what's going out. Start listening to, like Jeremy said, our podcast. Go read books. Like just wherever you start, it'll be better than whatever was taught to you. Because
Yeah.
now you're curious. Now you're not putting up your ego saying, oh, I'm X amount of years old and I should know this. That's
Hmm.
super dangerous.
Hmm.
Now, I remember my first couple months in this business and I would raise my hand and ask questions in meetings. And people would look at me like I had three heads because they had like 16 years experience or 5 years. I'm like, dude, like, I don't know the answer. Like, I don't know why it does that. What does that mean? Like, I'm going to ask stupid questions because then I don't have to ask him again. Right. Like, don't let that ego get in the way, I guess is my
Uh,
point. So,
yeah, that's how I feel when I talk to you guys. Still.
So as we start wrapping things up here, do you have anything else you want to share? Words of wisdom, anything about what you're looking forward to in the next, 1, 2, 3 years, anything like that?
I just still sits in my head. I really like what Jason just said about teaching his kid and kind of sharing his like budget and where we at and his salary. I think that's if somebody missed it this point, I think it's a very important point that Jason just shared. If you don't know where to start with your budget. That's how I started in finance. I was, like I said, with my brother, we just start counting where we at, and it wasn't much at the beginning, right? It was nothing. We were in red zone the whole, for the whole time, but because we did it consistently, we knew our numbers and we knew where we at. And slowly, the more you look at it, the more you get pissed off at yourself. Like, why did I buy an energy drink for $5? That was a waste. But you start noticing those things. So for younger generation, just start with the budget, start with the simple, start counting what you're spending. And for the parents, make sure you share that with your kids.
That's great, man. No, I really appreciate it. What matters is measured. What matters is measured.
And
So we've
And
got
what's measured can be managed. Take it into substance. So
All right. Well, hey, Artem, it's been great having you on the podcast. I agree with Jason. Maybe we have you back come this fall. You tell us kind of what the next couple months look like, what you've accomplished, and where you're going, and then let us know. Yeah, exactly. Like Jason just said, let us know how things are going with you and the miss at this point.
Will do. Will do.
All right.
thank you. And as we all know, Jeremy, we're already in banking.
You're just not the banker yet. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
See you guys.
Thanks for joining us on WealthWise Banking. If today's episode inspired you, please subscribe, leave a review, and give us a like. It's a simple way to help others discover these empowering strategies and join our community. Together, we're building a network of people who believe financial freedom is within everyone's reach. Remember, financial independence is about making every dollar work for you, one step at a time. Until next time, stay inspired, stay in control, and keep building your legacy the wise way.